efforts and time and a lot of commitment to this dealing with both the HIV and hepatitis situation here in the county. It's a tough job, and somebody's got to do it. So thanks for being there.
You are welcome.
Supervisor Delaware?
I'm looking for my colleagues to remind me what we had a discussion regarding needle receptacles on the transfer station side. What did we do?
MSWA's handling it.
We are okay.
Yep.
That's what I thought, but I couldn't remember what the resolution of that was, because that's, to me, is having those outlets is critical. Because right now they get buried in the garbage, and that's a very serious problem.
And as far as the pickup of the disposal, we're tagging on to public health for the cost to that contract. You know, that's maybe something that, you know, because it is at that point getting rid of the old needles, it's waste disposal. Maybe that's something that MSWA might want to tackle, is getting a few more receptacles to put them in the pharmacies. This is an idea. Instead of having somebody else do it, leave it all in the same program, and then contract with the agency instead of, like when they go north, instead of 6 places to pick them up, they're going to have 10 or 12 to pick them up. It'd probably be a minimal cost to have. They're going there anyway, so it's just a matter of a few extra stops. So maybe it's something that we can propose at MSWA to kind of expand that program to more disposal sites.
And I'm not sure, I may just have not seen it, but has there been much outreach to let folks know that those options are available? If not, we obviously need to do that. And the household user, say a diabetic with a number of needles every day, needs to know that those receptacles are available, whether it's a transfer station or at some point a pharmacy.
Well, you know, probably they don't have these receptacles at pharmacies. To me, it's a good idea. I mean, the idea is to get them picked up.
And we also need to let people know that option is available too.
Right.
Before you leave, the interesting statistics that I mentioned earlier. In 2000, the Sheriff's Office estimated there were approximately 5,000 needle users in Mendocino County. 2005, it's now estimated we have about 3,500 cases of needle-related hepatitis C virus in the county. Next paragraph. Since it takes 20 to 40 years for a person with HCV to show any signs of the illness, that's the unpromoted knowledge, I think, to most citizens in this county, that they could be carrying the hepatitis C virus and not know it because of this long delay. And in my previous career, having been exposed to hepatitis C as being the most prevalent danger to emergency responders, much more so than HIV, that's not a very comforting length of time for me to have to worry about. I mean, I continue to have my tests, etc., but 40 years from now, I could wind up with a big surprise. And so that little thing, the public awareness, people need to know about. In regards to HIV, we currently know of 122 infected individuals. I think what Charlie mentioned earlier, there is a number going unreported in the county because they visit other counties for their services. I think that, from my personal perspective, continues. So efforts of public education, getting out there in any way, shape, or form to promote clean needle exchanges, etc., because of my personal experience and my history involving emergency response, I think is great. We need to continue it, and if there's ways we can expand it through public education, etc., we need to continue that. So
you just approved recognizing May 19th as World Hepatitis C Awareness Day.
Yep.
So you've already taken a step.
Yep. And I certainly didn't want to just pass that proclamation in a very short period of time without a lot of discussion over these statistics. This affects people and they don't even know it, so they need to pay attention. I do have one question after all that commentary. It mentions tattooing and body piercing. There's parameters of safe tattooing and body piercing, right? Somebody is overseeing that. I mean, it's just not take out a business license and.
If you do it with a business license, yes, there are health code regulations.
Right.
Right? But what happens to the kids who come home after school and one says, hey, I have some tattooing. Do you want to have a little tattoo party? Or maybe it happens at Reggae on the River, or it happens at street fairs, and it happens in an unlicensed, unregulated way. I mean, after all, it doesn't take a lot to pierce your body and stick an earring in your ear. The first time I had an earring done, I did it at home with 2 ice cubes and a hot needle.
You're a brave man, Charlie.
But my point is, I knew enough to sterilize the needle.
Right.
What if people don't know that? You can pierce, anywhere. And people tattoo in prisons. And there's no guarantee that this is sterile equipment with, alcohol swabs and a clean, never used before needle. So there's a lot of hepatitis C that's being transmitted from person to person through pleasurable, desirable activities that go unregulated because they can be unregulated.
Well, and you did mention one occurrence that happens every year now, major portion of our county, and that's Reggae on the River. And again, in my experience of emergency responder, there is a great number of activities that take place at Reggae on the River that I think the normal sober thinking person might not take advantage of.
Sober is the operative word there, I think.
That's right. and we have received correspondence in the past of late of concerns about health situations at Reggae on the River, and this totally, I never even thought of this activity taking place at Reggae on the River, and I really have a concern about how well we are overseeing such activities at large events such as Reggae on the River, and I think the board needs to be aware that now a major portion of Reggae is taking place in this county, and all we've done in the past is tag on to Humboldt County's use permit without really addressing the concerns of our county, and I think we need to take that step and take another look at their permit, because a lot of those folks are now residing in our county on a temporary basis, and it's our job to look out for them. So, Supervisor Pinches.
I'd like to, you talk about the one-for-one exchange, but do you also, we do have a program now where we are putting the drop-off boxes for the used needles at our transfer stations, our disposal transfer stations. Are you aware of that?
I am not, no.
Well, yeah, you folks, need to be, and also if you can convey it to your folks that if they don't bring those needles back to your department, to let them know where they can. That's something I'll follow up through on MSWA and talk to Mike Sweeney, our general manager, about it and coordinate to have a little better knowledge out there of what's available.
Thank you.
Please, Stacy.
Just a few comments. I have talked to Mike Sweeney, and we're supposed to be getting together to talk about all of the components of his new program and then working on building an educational campaign so everyone is informed.
Okay.
So I will be working on that. Just a quick comment on SB 1159. It is considered a disease prevention demonstration project, and it goes through 2010. And there would be some mandates that go along with it. For example, the pharmacies would have to register with the local health department. So there is some mandates. So what we need to do, like Charlie said, is just to analyze the costs associated with those mandates and put together a proposal of whether it's something we should proceed with.